So if you're looking for a good default defense and you're not on top of your opponent's blade, but actually end up underneath it, then I've got just the technique for you today. Jeff's High Forte Swordplay. So in previous weeks, we've started to introduce the term Aufstreichen, or just Streichen. And as we've mentioned, Streichen kind of falls into a class of terminology in the German tradition. Just like in English, we'll say things like block or parry or defend, and all of these words can kind of blend into each other in terms of how specific they are, how broad they are. So in the German tradition, when it comes to things like hitting or strokes, you've got Hau or Hauen, Streichen, Schlag, Treffen. So this particular one, when you look at the actual context in the historical sources, tends to be something where you're actually starting from below and actually stroking or brushing upward. So streichen is the verb, S-T-R-E-I-C-H-E-N, and sometimes it will have words that go with it, like prepositions such as auf or durch. So auf as in like upward, durch as in through, and then the other fun part about this is like the word can get used quite a bit where the sources don't actually give you very much context about what the heck you're supposed to do. And so if we're asked to, Aufstreichen, and that's all that we're told to do, if we don't have an actual physical model for what's being asked for, it's pretty hard to actually understand the whole passage, because the other issue is a lot of these instances, the Aufstreichen actually ends up occurring very early in the sequence. And so obviously when you're doing interpretation, if you don't even know what the right way to set it up is, the rest of the interpretation could be very questionable. So, so we will talk about more historical examples in the future, but today what I wanted to introduce was mechanics. Mechanics and a model for what we believe Aufstreichen might actually be. And turns out it's actually nothing. It's something that I think a lot of people already have a lot of familiarity with. And that starting concept that people might be familiar with could be the moulinet. Okay, so when we have a sword and say that we cut, and then there's another incoming blow over here, a very natural thing to do, saberists do this all the time, cut, parry, cut, parry, cut, parry. So you're flipping from here to basically a hanging parry, right? And I'll do that from the side. Cut, parry, cut, parry, cut, parry. With one-handed stuff, there's definitely preference to actually fold this way, but theoretically, you certainly can actually cut from the left and parry this way, right? So that's moulinet on the other side. And when you're talking longsword, both sides kind of hanging parry or moulinet become that much more equal, right? So because you've got the backhand to help you. So from here, I can hanging parry this way. And then from this side, I can cut hanging parry here. And if I were to pause that position, you can see that it's going to look very ox-like, okay? So from here to here, or from here to here, okay? So nothing super novel or mind-blowing about that, at least from the perspective of the actual position. The thing that I want to call out, though, is the nature of that pattern, right? So when I cut and then I cover an incoming attack from here, notice that I've got my hands high, point low. So I do this and there's impact, and that impact can get sort of like sloughed off by the slope of this hanging parry. In a similar way though, when I cut, instead of coming here and letting it slide off, why not also go this way, right? So now if I do that and I actually go here instead of here, I can achieve very much the same effect. In fact, as you'll see in a little bit when I demonstrate this with a partner, when I actually come up with the point up instead of the hands up, it becomes a lot less clashy when impact actually happens with the incoming cut. So when the incoming cut comes in at this angle, I can actually brush it aside, brush it aside, brush it aside, okay? So, so that's a little bit of a pointer on the blade angle piece of it. But the other big thing that ties this all together is what we at my club are sort of affectionately calling the lucky 8 pattern, okay? So notice you trace the blade pattern, or think about where the point is traveling. There's an 8 pattern, okay? And by the way, as opposed to an infinity pattern, right? We're not doing an infinity pattern, we're doing an 8 pattern, okay? So if we use this idea for Aufstreichen, I'm now going to coin sort of 3 flavors of it, okay? And they're in various places in different sources. All these things are mentioned, okay? So there is a version where when I come up, I'm going to use the short edge. Another version where I come up, I'm going to use the long edge. And then another version where I come up and I'm using that flat or hanging parry, okay? So flavor 1, when I come up with in the figure 8 pattern, attack, short edge, attack, short edge, attack, short edge, okay? Now I can do the same thing and actually just turn a little bit further so that my long edge comes up. So my hands cross, definitely more. And when this is mentioned, often you'll also hear that the pommel gets pushed through on the other side to help, okay? So here, long edge, attack, long edge, attack, parry, long edge, okay? And then the final version is the one that we already talked about. So from here, flip up so that you're actually using the flat. Thumb underneath, spheric conventions, right? When we're doing spherical, thumb underneath on this side, thumb underneath on this side. So here, parry, here, parry, here, parry. So you've got those 3 different versions. And if you've been paying attention, I've been doing this from the right, but I can also obviously attack from the left side, and that gives you a mirrored version of all of these things. So again, just for completeness, so if I'm attacking over here, attack, parry, short, attack, parry, short, attack, parry, short, attack, parry, long, attack, parry, long, attack, parry, long, attack, parry, flat, attack, parry, flat with the hanger, attack, parry with the moulinet, okay? So those are those 3 different flavors of the moulinet, or of the lucky 8 or Aufstreichen, from both sides, from the right side and the left side, if I'm attacking from the right and left. So next, what I'm going to do is show you what that actually looks like in action in the context of effectively a flow drill. So we'll actually kind of flow through all those different variations, probably just from the right side. And the thing that I want people to really pay attention to in this next segment, really look at the blade angle piece, okay? So get to that next. Okay, so now that we've actually talked through the mechanics for Aufstreichen, I'm going to go ahead and do that figure 8 pattern again. And I'm going to do all 3 variations, which is, with the short edge coming up, long edge coming up, and then with the hanger. And as I'm doing these patterns, I'm going to have Andre, my partner here, actually come and basically do the same pattern, but in a way such that he's actually throwing a Zornhau from his right side, so that I'm picking up that Zornhau with my parries in each one of these different scenarios. So this way, just showing people the angle of that picking up of the parry, I think it's really tricky to try to get that on camera, so that's really the goal here. So here we go. So just towards you so you can see this figure 8. So I'm attacking here, but then I'm parrying. Attack, parry, attack, short edge, attack, long edge, attack, hanger parry, attack, short, attack, long, attack, hanger. Okay, so here we go. So here's the pattern. I'm going to have Andre kind of walk in here. So when he cuts, short, long, hanger, short, long, hanger, short, long, hanger, short, short, long, hanger. Okay, there we go, cool. And so again, you can basically see a flow pattern that you can do to actually train this. Everything that we just did there was with sort of opposed Zornhaus from the right side for each one of us, but you can do just the same thing also on the left-hand side. So yeah, so I think that's a good place to leave it in terms of just the mechanics of how this kind of fits together. Short edge coming up, long edge coming up, hanger, right? And on the left side, if I'm going to cut from my left, short edge up, long edge up, hanger, and in this case, thumb underneath, so spheric kind of conventions when you're coming up for the hanger. So yeah, I think that'll do it for today. In the next couple of videos, we're actually going to be now using this pattern for various things like our workout sequences, but also to actually really now dig into specific historical passages talking about Streichen, this stroke from below, Aufstreichen, Durchstreichen, so upstrokes, strokes through. Those are terms that get used in Meyer and also in early sources like Ringek. So we'll be coming back to those in a little bit. So talk to you next time.